Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs and another episode of Fit Tip Tuesday. I am returning to the traditional format for these videos today. If you tuned in last week, you saw the kickoff for my new series, the Bernina L460 Serger Manual. And I launched it on Tuesday, and then the second episode was launched on Sunday. So if you're interested in keeping up with the Bernina Serger series, check that out on Sunday. One of the easiest things you can do is subscribe to my channel and click the little bell, because then you'll get notifications every time I upload something new. And I have a ton of exciting stuff coming this year. I'm so excited. I have completely redesigned my studio space, so now I know you can't see it, but my lights are up on the ceiling instead of on stands on the floor. And I've reconfigured my workspace, and I have a lot more mobility with my camera. So I'm going to be doing a lot of fun stuff this year. So I hope you'll join me for every minute of it. Today, what I want to do is show you how to add ease in the full hip area when your waist and your upper thigh measurements are good and they don't need to be adjusted. So this is a pattern that I'm working on with one of my one-on-one Zoom pants fitting students. And I thought it would be fun to just show you how to do this today, because I know sometimes, you're working on fitting your pants and everything fits except one area. So I'm going to show you how to adjust or add 3 inches of ease to this pattern. So you can see in front of me, I just have it laid out here so you can see. And the area I'm talking about is right here in this full hip area. I'm going to divide the amount that we need to add by 4. So 3 divided by 4 is 3/4 of an inch. So that means I only need to add 3/4 of an inch to each front leg and back leg, because when you cut them out, then you'll get the double. Okay, so the first thing is to decide how much you need to add, and then divide it by 4 to get the final answer on what you need to add to each piece. So I'm going to put away the front for now. We'll start with the back. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to draw a vertical line down the center of my pattern, and I think I'll use, just to make this even more colorful than it is, I'm going to use my red Sharpie marker here. So I'm going to draw a guideline like this, and I'm going to draw a guideline like this, just so you can see where we are adding. Okay, and if you're in a situation where you need to add to your full hip as well, what you want to do is look at the silhouette of your figure. And so when I looked at photos of my student in her muslin, I noticed that her hip curve was the fullest sort of at this crotch level. So that's why I'm going to make my adjustment here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the top of this pattern. Oh, first let me just extend this vertical line down a little bit here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut this off. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to, but not through the top of the leg here. So actually I'm going to stop at the seam allowance, and I'm going to create a pivot. Okay, so my pivot is actually right at that 3/4 inch mark, see? All right, so I'm going to spread this pattern, and I'm going to spread it the amount I need to add, 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to stick this paper underneath. Okay, and then I always like to start by securing the center front and back side down first. Okay, so I'm just going to secure that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure Okay, I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch from here to here. And then I'm just going to tape the other side in place like that. All right, so now now my hip is 3/4 of an inch bigger. I'm just gonna cut this off right here. Okay, so here's what the two pieces look like now. And you can see I just measured the center of the amount I added. It's right there. I want to join that back up so it lines up with its original location. And another thing that's very common when you're fitting pants is having too much vertical length on the back leg, which causes wrinkles underneath your butt. And this is another thing we're working on to fix with this pattern. So when I pull this top portion down, okay, and I'm going to line up the red mark, but I'm also going to line up the side and center back edges so they're even. I don't want to change the length, especially of the side seam, because remember, the side seam has to stay the same because it sews to the front side seam. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape this down now. Okay, so you can see I've totally matched up the original lengths of both my center back edge and my side seam here. So those are going to be the same. And what I want to do to my side seam is I want to fill this in so I can ease it back down. So I'm just going to put some tape here. Okay, so I am going to just tape this down. And then all we're going to do here is we're just going to add to our side seam edge to true this up. You know, and basically what I want to do is I just want to, let me just dash it in first. So here's where the new edge is. So I'm just going to come down and just sort of join my original side seam in a very gradual way. You want to make a smooth transition from where we added back to the original side seam. Okay, so this is going to be our new side seam edge, okay? And you can see we've added 3/8 of an inch right here, okay? And then you can see on the opposite side, we've also added 3/8 of an inch over here. To true up the inside, I want to make this match this, but I don't want to shorten my crotch wedge. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just cut right here, and then I'm going to draw myself a guideline like this, and I'm going to cut through the top to separate it, and I'm going to create a hinge at the side, and I'm just going to push this out until it matches back up again. I'm going to tape it over here so you can see what I did. All right, so see how I added that wedge of paper there? So now I've trued this up, and you can see I haven't changed the shape of my crotch because that was working. And everything is lined up and trued up now. All right, so a lot of times when I'm fitting or I'm doing fit adjustments, if you slash the pattern and work inside the piece instead of trying to change the shape of the outside edges, it can be a little bit easier because then you're not fussing with trying to create, the same shape or playing with the length of them. So that's why I like to do these adjustments within the pattern instead of just adding to the outside sometimes. So I think in this case, this will be, I think this is going to work really, really well. And just to true this up here, I'm just going to trim off this little bit that bumped out. So I'm just trimming this little piece off right here just to make it straight again. All right, so that's how to add 3/4 of an inch to the back. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the front. So let me just put this aside. Let me just make sure. I'm just going to take a minute and turn my pattern upside down and tape it like I mean it. Because if you don't secure these little bits of paper, you know, they can come unglued and then you might lose your shape. So I'm just going to take a minute and do that. All right. All right, and then just to finalize this, I'm going to cut this off so you can see the final shape. Okay. Okay, so there is the final shape there. I just want to measure from where I did that adjustment so it's the same place on the front. So about 10 inches from the top of the pattern. So I'm going to measure down 10 inches. That puts me off of my front edge level, so I'll just bring it up a little bit. I'm going to do it right here. I think this will work out. So let's just do it right here. And again, I'll just use this as my slash line. And again, I'm just going to cut this off. And I'm going to cut to, but not through the top edge to create a hinge. All right, so again, I'm going to spread this front edge 3/4 of an inch. Let me just tape that down. Okay, and then I'm going to measure my 3/4 of an inch here. And I'll swing this back in to close it to get that amount. All right, I'm going to tape that in place. Perfect. All right, let's get the bottom part of the front leg over here. And again, I'm finding the middle of the spread here, and I'm going to line that up. And again, I am going to bring this down until it matches. The side and the center front are matched. I don't want to change that. Okay, and then you can see we have the same truing up to do that we had to do in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of paper over here. We're just going to fill that out to true that up. Okay, so again, I'm just going to be very gradual. Okay. So it's going to look something like that. Okay, so that's how I adjusted the side seam edge. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did in the back over here. I'm going to cut this, you know, right where it meets. And I'm going to draw a diagonal like this. And I'm just going to push it out. To meet my front. going to look like that. Okay, so see how I've completely restored my front crotch curve. Okay, and then I'll just put a piece of paper behind there to finish that. I put them back together side by side with the side seams next to each other so you could see that these side seams are essentially the same shape. Okay, so that's the other thing. By splitting these pieces down the center where we needed to add and pushing it out in both directions, we've sort of maintained the integrity of the actual shape. So I'm really excited about this because I feel like I've added the room where my student needs it, and I've maintained the overall shape. And as a bonus, I got rid of about 3/8 of an inch of vertical length hanging out in the middle of the back leg. And that was another thing that we were trying to address, was just getting rid of a little bit more of a wrinkle under her butt. So I'm super excited about this adjustment. I think it's sort of hitting a few birds with one stone. I'm kind of excited. All right, so that's how you add ease to the full hip area when you need to maintain your waist and upper thigh measurements. And also as a bonus, we got rid of about 3/4 of an inch of vertical length, which I'm also excited about in this case. If you have any questions about how to do this, please post them in the comments below and I will help you. If you need help or one-on-one attention to fit your pants, I will put a link to my Zoom pants fitting on my website. That's sort of like having me on speed dial. So, and I only take a limited number of students each month. So if you're interested in that, please, shoot me an email and we can organize a time to put you on the schedule. I hope you enjoyed this video. On Friday, there will be another exciting edition of FabFit Friday. And then remember, on Sundays, I've added the Bernina L460 Surgery Manual videos. So there's a lot of stuff you can do here with me all week long. And if you have anything specific that you need help with, please post them in the comments as well, because I do like to do Q&A videos where I answer questions from my subscribers. So please feel free to ask your questions as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again on Friday.